6:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Dulvin Samarasinghe and read by Rumesh Pires. The headlines. Global financial institutions say Sri Lanka needs coordinated assistance. The committee stage debate of the Ministries of Irrigation, Agriculture and Fisheries is now taking place in Parliament. The Power and Energy Minister warns of more daily power cuts. In news overseas, Beijing drops COVID testing as wider easing beckons. And in sports, Lanka Premier League Cricket Tournament 2022 begins. Now the local news in detail. The representatives of the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, International Monetary Fund and Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank agreed after meeting President Ranil Wickremesinghe today. Sri Lanka needs a coordinated assistance program supported by multilateral financial institutions. They reached the agreement following a lengthy roundtable discussion held in Colombo, where the President presented Sri Lanka's development program for economic recovery and long-term development. The committee stage debate of the Ministries of Irrigation, Agriculture and Fisheries is now taking place in Parliament. State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa said Umaoya irrigation scheme will provide water to 1,500 hectares of paddy fields. It will also provide water to Magampura Industry Zone. Work on 998 tanks and canals have been completed under the Saubhagya irrigation program. The State Minister added other tanks and canals will be renovated in future. Parliamentarian Gayantha Karunatillaka said the farmers have not received fertilizer and other agricultural needs on time. He pointed out that the government does not have a program for food security. Parliamentarian Maithripala Sirisena said the production of export-oriented agricultural crops should be increased. The State Minister Mohan Priyadarshana De Silva said agricultural entrepreneurship villages should be established. He pointed out that the youth should be involved in agriculture. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Wijeya's power cuts will have to be imposed from next year if the proposed electricity tariffs amendments were not implemented. He further said the power tariffs will have to be increased in January. The production cost of 1 unit of power is 56 rupees and 90 cents. The Ceylon Electricity Board needs 420 billion rupees to meet its expenditure. He added the Ceylon Electricity Board owes 70 billion rupees to the private power plants and 40 billion rupees to small-scale power suppliers. The Prisons Department said 14,547 prisoners and 62,426 suspects have been imprisoned in Sri Lanka for various charges during the last year, and more than 300 graduates were among those imprisoned. Prison spokesman Chandana Ekanayaka said that the number of people who have been sentenced by the courts or placed under custody in connection with various charges has gradually grown compared to previous years. Statistics show that at least 2.2% of those imprisoned have not attended school. And that concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
Moving on to the main news story, President Ranil Wickremesinghe says Sri Lanka does not need economic reforms that offer no solution to the ongoing crisis, but a strong new economic system that can face 2050. Outdated economic systems cannot help rebuild Sri Lanka's economy. The foreign exchange is essential to recover the island nation's economy. The necessary measures have already been taken to introduce a strong new economic system. He pointed out the importance of debt restructuring in order to ride out the crisis situation. The successful talks have taken place with India in this regard. The discussions with India on debt restructuring were delayed due to the 20th National Congress of the Chinese Communist Party. These talks will be expedited now that the Congress has come to an end. He added China has no objections to restructuring Sri Lanka's debts. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
Celebrate Christmas and New Year with lots of CIB discounts. Valuable gifts with bank discounts till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
In Watchlight this evening, SLT Mobitel Training Centre signed a landmark agreement with the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing with the aim to develop the nation's sales workforce. SLIM will deliver the proposed National Diploma of Sales Management program at SLTTC. The 9-month-long curriculum includes different modules such as digital and social selling, strategic sales management and sales forecasting. And that came to you in Watchlight. A bulletin of world news is next.
Celebrate Christmas and New Year with lots of CIB discounts. Valuable gifts with bank discounts till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
We give you the strength to rise higher and higher.
Never step back, but always march forward.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Moving on to the World News Bulletin, first the headlines. Beijing drops COVID testing as wider easing beckons. North Korea orders new artillery firings over South's drills. Thousands are on alert in Indonesia's East Java after volcano eruption. Now the World News in detail. People in China's capital, Beijing, were allowed to enter public places without showing proof of a negative COVID-19 test. This step has been taken after last month's historic protests. Authorities have been loosening some of the world's toughest COVID-19 curbs to varying degrees and softening their tone on the threat of the virus. North Korea's military says it has ordered frontline units to conduct artillery firings into the sea for the second consecutive day in a tit-for-tat response to South Korea's live-fire drills in an island border region. The South Korean army is conducting live-fire exercises involving multiple rocket launching systems in 2 separate testing grounds in the Cirebon region. Thousands of residents in Indonesia's East Java are on high alert after a violent eruption yesterday at the island's tallest volcano prompted authorities to impose an 8-kilometer no-go zone and forced evacuations of entire villages. The Provincial Search and Rescue Agency deployed teams to the worst affected areas near Mount Semeru to assess the damage. No casualties have been reported and there has not been any immediate disruption to air travel. To conclude this World News Bulletin, headlines once again. Beijing drops COVID testing as wider easing beckons. North Korea orders new artillery firings over South's drills. And thousands are on alert in Indonesia's East Java after volcano eruption. And that concludes World News.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
Amidst all challenges, rally around you and advance.
In the face of hardships, let's stand strong together.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
In development news, 108 houses will be constructed for low-income recipients in Kegol district. The Department of Samurdhi Development has provided more than 35 million rupees for the project. It is implemented under the Saubhagya Special Housing Project covering all divisional secretariats. And that came to you in development news. Moving on to sports news, the first match of the Lanka Premier League Cricket Tournament 2022 is underway at Hambantota between Jaffna Kings and Galle Gladiators. Jaffna Kings scored 137 at the end of 20 overs. Meanwhile, another 2 matches of the round 16 of the FIFA World Cup will be played today. Morocco versus Spain match will be played at Education Centre Stadium and Portugal versus Switzerland match will be played at Lusail Stadium in Qatar. And that was sports news.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In business news, Lumbini Aquaria International Private Limited won the Gold Award in the large category of the ornamental fish sector at the 2022 Annual Export Award of the National Chamber of Exporters of Sri Lanka. The prestigious Gold Award for Export Performance recognizes several important aspects of Lumbini Aquaria's business model. And that was business news.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the place for your money.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Moving on to economic news. According to the exchange rates issued by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the buying rate of US dollar was 361 rupees and 30 cents, and the selling rate was 371 rupees and 71 cents. The buying rate of sterling pound was 438 rupees and 62 cents, and the selling rate was 455 rupees and 39 cents. The buying rate of euro was 376 rupees and 87 cents, and the selling rate was 392 rupees and 33 cents. And that was economic news, and the weather report is next. And finally, moving on to the weather report, the Department of Meteorology has announced it will be rainy and windy, and that will enhance over the northern, north central and eastern provinces from tomorrow to Friday. And that was the weather report. And to conclude this news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. Global financial institutions say Sri Lanka needs coordinated assistance. The committee stage debate of the Ministries of Irrigation, Agriculture and Fisheries is now taking place in Parliament. The Power and Energy Minister warns of more daily power cuts. In news overseas, Beijing drops COVID testing as wider easing beckons. In Sports, Lanka Premier League Cricket Tournament 2022 begins. And with that, we conclude this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.